Deadlock continues after presidential meeting. High demand for Chiikawa lanterns at Kaohsiung Lantern Festival. Taiwan zoo worker sentenced for shooting escaped baboon. Russia says U.S. relations are on the brink of collapse. Concerns rise as Cook Islands plans to sign agreement with China. Marriages in China plunged by a record last year. Police stopped Ed Sheeran from singing at Bengaluru's Church Street. Kobe sneakers from torn Achilles game sell for $660,000.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Wednesday, February 12th, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan's news, President Lai Ching-te's meeting with the five branches failed to resolve the deadlock. The Legislative Yuan rejected the Executive Yuan's proposal on the election law, and further objections to the annual central government budget could jeopardize Speaker Han Kuo-yu's promise of budget negotiations. Chiikawa lantern distributed at the Kaohsiung Winter Wonderland have become highly sought after, with reports of traders buying them from children outside schools and parents reselling them online for up to 1,000 NT dollars. PTT posts show over 90% of people trading them for everyday items like toilet paper, calling them alternative currency. A zoo worker from Taiwan's Liufu village safari was sentenced to 8 months in prison for illegally shooting an escaped baboon that had been on the run for 18 days. The court ruled the act as a violation of the Wildlife Conservation Act. The decision is open to appeal. And in global news, the Kremlin said Monday that U.S.-Russian relations were on the brink of collapse and refused to confirm whether Russian President Vladimir Putin has spoken with President Trump, despite Trump saying so on Sunday. Russia's deputy foreign minister told a media conference on Monday that relations with Washington are balancing on the brink of a breakup, and reiterated the war in Ukraine would last until Kyiv dropped its ambition to join NATO and withdraw from the 4 regions occupied by Russian forces.
Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the same day that he would neither confirm nor deny Trump's comments to reporters on Air Force One on Sunday, stating that he and Putin had spoken in his first officially acknowledged contact with the Russian leader since 2022. The remarks from Trump and Kremlin spokespeople come at a crucial juncture for the war in Ukraine, with Kyiv and its European neighbors nervously awaiting details of Trump's peace plan to end the conflict that Russia launched with its full-scale invasion 3 years ago. The Ukrainian leader said Sunday that it was important he meet Trump before any negotiations with Putin, otherwise, it will look like a dialogue about Ukraine without Ukraine.
Concerns are mounting in New Zealand as the Cook Islands Prime Minister travels to China this week to sign agreements without properly consulting New Zealand, despite the two nations' constitutional ties. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon said on Monday at a news conference that New Zealand expected transparency and consultation with the Cook Islands after its Prime Minister, Mark Brown, indicated that he was heading to China to seek a partnership in national development, including infrastructure, trade, and the economy.
The Cook Islands is a self-governing country in free association with New Zealand, which provides budget support and commits to defending the South Pacific nation, whose people are New Zealand citizens. New Zealand had made repeated requests to the Cook Islands to share or consult on the contents of the agreements that Brown plans to sign with China but had not received a proper response, raising significant concern. Cook Islanders have also questioned the secrecy surrounding the agreement. Tina Brown, leader of the opposition Democratic Party, stated that people were concerned about the lack of consultation, firstly about the Cook Islands passport, and not the agreement with China.
Marriages in China plummeted by a fifth last year, marking the biggest drop on record, despite manifold efforts by authorities to encourage young couples to wed and have children to counter the country's declining population. Declining interest in getting married and starting a family has long been attributed to the high cost of childcare and education in China. On top of that, sputtering economic growth over the past few years have made it difficult for university graduates to find work, and those who do have jobs feel insecure about their long-term prospects.
More than 6.1 million couples registered for marriage last year, down from 7.68 million the year before. For Chinese authorities, increasing interest in marriage and childbearing is a pressing concern. China has the second largest population in the world, at 1.4 billion, but it is aging rapidly. The birth rate has declined for decades due to China's one-child policy, 1980 to 2015, and rapid urbanization. In the coming decade, roughly 300 million Chinese are expected to enter retirement. Last year saw a slight rise in births after a lull due to the pandemic and because 2024 was the Chinese zodiac year of the dragon. Children born that year are believed to be ambitious and destined for great fortune. However, despite the increase in births, the country's population declined for the third consecutive year.
Ed Sheeran's music appears to have hit the wrong note with Indian authorities, who stopped the British singer from busking in the tech capital of Bengaluru, citing a lack of necessary permissions. Videos circulating online shows Ed dressed in a white t-shirt and green shorts, playing guitar and singing his 2017 hit single Shape of You on a sidewalk in the city of 13 million people ahead of his concert there on Sunday. A police officer then approaches him and unplugs his microphone, prompting jeers from the crowd, which had been singing along.
Authorities in Bengaluru said Sheeran was playing on one of the busiest streets in the city. Though his staff had approached the police seeking permission, Sheeran had not been given approval to perform there. The police deputy commissioner for central Bengaluru said, "I refused to give permission because Church Street gets very crowded." That was the reason he was asked to vacate the place. Sheeran, who spent the early years of his career in London playing in small venues and busking, confirmed he was busking in Bengaluru but said he had permission to perform. He wrote in an Instagram story on Sunday, as playing in that exact spot was planned out before. It wasn't just randomly turning up. All good though.
The shoes that basketball legend Kobe Bryant wore when he tore his Achilles tendon during an iconic 2013 game have sold at an auction for $660,000. Playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, Bryant stayed in the game against the Golden State Warriors and scored 2 clutch free throws despite the crippling injury. There is no moment in Kobe's career more emblematic of the Mamba mentality than the Achilles game, auction house Sotheby's wrote in a description for the sale. Even 5 years after his tragic death, Kobe Bryant's memory, image, and legacy continues to live on.
The April 12th game started painfully for Bryant, who was 34 at the time. The shooting guard hyperextended his knee early in the second half, causing him to hobble on one foot. Then, with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Bryant took another hit, falling and holding his left heel. At the time of the tear, Bryant said, "As soon as I made the move, I knew it. It feels like the shock absorbers in the back of your foot are just gone." He hobbled to the bench but then returned to the court moments later and made 2 free throws. It was one of Bryant's most famous moments on the basketball court. A number of other Bryant items have sold for high prices at auctions since his death. His jersey from the same 2013 game sold for $1.2 million in June 2024.
The answer for yesterday was B, determining factor. Price is often a determining factor when choosing a product. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. Kobe's sneakers from torn Achilles game sells for $660,000. Number 1, auction, 拍卖. The painting was sold at auction for over $1 million. Number 2, crippling, 严重的. The crippling effect of the recession left many businesses struggling. Number 3, live on, 继续活下去. Even though she is no longer with us, her love and kindness will always remain in our hearts. Her memory lives on. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section, and the correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Wade Lee, your host. I'll see you next time.